It's just shortly after midnight in Iran. And there's a lot of rumor, speculation going on. And we'll get to that. But let me just get these pop-outs done. And also I gotta make sure the banner is there. Sean is first this time. Sep will be here any second. And I may bring Sep on with me. How's that? All right, hold on. Let me straighten out YouTube. At the same time, I'm preparing for this storm. It's crazy. I gotta switch over to this account. Now it's showing my other one. It's crazy. Have lost total connection to oh God. To family members in Iran. I'll tell you, speaking to Sep privately, he should be commended on the efforts that he's doing on his end. I will just simply say that without putting out his business. Commended the efforts that he's doing to help the people in Iran. That's all I'm going to say. All right, let me add the thumbnail for this that Sep created. And now we have it. I am not kidding when I tell you guys, nothing's happened tonight. Nothing's happened. But there is rumor, and it started yesterday. Let me clear this up. So yesterday, the Turkish foreign minister said that intelligence indicated that Israel was going to strike Iran. Now, we know the Ayatollah is in a bunker. I'm going to read some of the stuff coming in on the phone. Would Iran strike Israel first if they thought that Israel was about to strike them? I mean, use it or lose it mentality. Just, if they think it's imminent, would they not do a preemptive strike first? Is that possible? Is it probable? I don't know. It's a really interesting thing to think about. I don't think it's going to happen either. I'm not saying it is, but you cannot discount that as a possibility. That's all I'm saying. You never know. I think it would be crazy. But then again, is crazy normal? Or is normal crazy? I mean, when you think about it, the way things are, and I'm keeping an eye, obviously, on flight radar. It's after midnight now. It's after midnight. Alexa, what time is it in Tehran? Iran?
In Tehran, it's currently 12:05 a.m.
12:05 a.m. Let me get this pop-up so I can see what you guys are writing. What's going on? Oh, this storm is going to be bad. They can't play the victim card anymore, so the card is on the table. The most they would do, the most evil thing, is to spread nuclear reactor waste. Yes, dirty bomb. To make it agriculture useless, but that's 1984 stuff. My friend told me last week that the dirty bomb was a rumor. Dirty bombs. But I talked to him today at length, privately, and he was telling about all the logistics that are involved. He goes, Bill, just remember, Venezuela took months to prepare. It just didn't happen overnight. And he was explaining all the things that were involved. He said, well, this is a bigger theater. And he was telling me how they would go after specific targets, IRGC, widespread, precise, numerous strikes. He says, Bill, this takes time. He doesn't think it's happening this weekend. He said, start watching out for next Thursday. That's what he said, Thursday, which is Friday for them, morning. Now, I don't know if they would do it on day of prayer or if the market's open, but he says keep an eye on because their Thursdays are Friday, our Thursdays, their Friday, so forth. So he thinks next week. Yeah, there's still some crazy airlines, but that plane that we noticed earlier was Russian, and it is in Russia now. So these flights, that's, again, probably the UAE. Yeah. It's UAE, Iranian, Pakistan? Yeah. And then you have this in Iraq. Now, what the hell is that? That's Iranian. That's a big boy. Coming from Turkey. That's a big boy. Passenger plane. So that's what you're seeing. Mostly Iranian planes. Really. And UAE. I think that's Iranian too. KIS. It is. So yeah, most of the planes flying over Iran, the majority of them are Iranian or UAE. That's it. Let's see what SEP is putting. Also, Iran International confirmed that U.S. that met with the Israelis have assured that Iran went back on its word to not execute the prisoners. Yeah, we talked about that. We knew that. It's like, how is it that they just realized that? I mean, seriously? Come on. You know they've known. I can't see waiting for Thursday, not with China and Russia. I told him the same thing. He told me some other things, and this guy is a contractor currently, and he's a vet pilot. He said, Bill, do you realize how decimated they were after the 12-day? Do you really think they're going to be able to defend? They didn't. He says they did not. And he said, yeah, China. And then when I mentioned the same thing about China and Russia, he goes, well, it didn't work out too good in Venezuela, did it? It didn't help out in the first one, the 12-day. So what are they sending them? Good question. I wonder how the Iranians get FAA parts from American planes. Probably through other countries that have similar aircraft, and they're getting it from them. Because they do have relations with most, if not some, of our allies. Look at France and Iran. Even the UK and Iran. And there's always the component of getting parts through the market. I don't think that's such a major issue, really. There's always a way. If you got the money, there's always a way. Amazon delivery. Oh my God. Let's see. Help is on the way after everyone is deceased, apparently. And the problem is that there are 5 million protesters that are around 40 million pro-regime citizens. Not everyone is against the regime. Correct. We had a few of them here. You're right. There's still quite a bit that support the regime. Absolutely. We've seen it here. And it's not in thousands. You're right. Just based on the law of averages and percentages, if you said 90% of the people are for independent, free Iran, that means 9 million are for the regime. If it's 90 million, 10%, it's 9 million people that support the regime. So yeah, literally, you're right. Just based on the numbers. I'm not saying it's 90%, but even if it was 95%, you still have 4 million that support the regime. So yeah, based on numbers, law of averages, recondition. Oh my God, you guys are starting already. What makes you say there are 40 million regime supporters? No. if there's the population of Iran is what? Say 90 million. I know it's a little over. Say 90. Say 90%. 90% support regime change. That still leaves 9 million people that may not. That's just the average. That's just the numbers, breaking down numbers. I don't think it's half the country. I don't think it's 40 million. And I think he said 4 million. And I know how many more people. I think it's coming. I personally think it's coming. I really do. And I know I've been saying that. I think a lot of us hope that it's coming sooner rather than later, because people are dying every day. And I don't know where I heard it from. I saw an interview with Pahlavi. I don't know which. This is recent from another network. I mean, didn't somebody say that there was like 15,000 that died in Tehran alone? So what do you think the numbers are across the country? 40,000? 50,000? I mean, seriously? How many people have been executed? How many people have been killed in hospitals, lying wounded and taken out right there? I mean, are we serious? I mean, what is going on? Are we just going to ignore what the hell's going on there on the ground? Are we? This isn't, it's mass slaughter. I mean, there's just no, this is a massacre on a scale that I have not seen that I can remember in my lifetime. And I'm not even kidding. In this short period of time, all these people, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people dead, hundreds of thousands wounded, who knows how many in prison, who knows how many executed. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. Kelly's mind is saying 80,000 plus. So what the fuck, excuse my language, I don't mean to say it. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? And like I said, every day that goes by, help is on the way. Keep on protesting. I'm going to rescue you. That's looking worse and worse and worse every minute, every hour, every day. And that's why I said, you hear politicians, he's not Obama, he's Reagan plus. Well, he's sure looking worse than Obama and Biden right now, because thousands of people have lost their lives. When you said help is on the way, keep on protesting, keep doing it. He said it, not just Reza Pahlavi, but the president said, keep on protesting. Get those, take over the institutions in Iran. I will rescue you if they start killing the protesters, if they start killing. What the fuck? What are we waiting for? And I'm going to tell you, if this doesn't happen, he will go down as one of the worst presidents ever. Way worse than Obama, way worse than Biden, way worse than anybody, because people are going to say, there are blood on your hands because you said you were going to do this. Thousands of people died and then you did nothing. And that's just the reality of it. I don't care if you're pro-Trump, anti-Trump. That's just the reality of the way people are going to look at it in history. You told those people you were going to help them. And they were chanting your name, writings on the wall, posting placards of your name of streets. And you did nothing. But I don't think that's the case. I don't. I think he's going to do something. You know what I'm saying? I think he's going to. But if he doesn't, what do you think? And then this is just now on a political sense. What do you think the people of Iran are going to think about the United States moving forward? Never to trust us. Forget about the politics involved. The people will never trust us. Ever, ever, ever. Never. They'll never trust the United States. The people. You lose the people, you're lost. You're done. Forget about the politics involved. Republican, Democrat, all that shit. Forget about that. The people will never trust the United States. I don't care who's in power. They'll never trust the United States again. Never. The people. You lost them forever. Not only that, they'll feel betrayed, and you might create extremists from that point of view. America let us die. I mean, I'm just saying. We got to think of that point too. So I don't think that's going to be the case. I think the president will act when he's ready. I do believe he's going to act. But like people said, when? It can't be another week. You know, people are dying. It's just so bad. What are we waiting for? We have to wait till we're ready. But aren't we ready now? Maybe not. It looks like they're still sending stuff in. So you could look at this. What I'm saying is, you could look at this from many points of view. And like I said, from a pro-Trump point of view, an anti-Trump point of view, the bottom line is this. You said what you said. You shouldn't have said it if you weren't going to do it. And then you shouldn't have reinforced what you said, especially it just changed. First it was, I will rescue the Iranian people if they start killing the protesters. We're locked, what do you say, locked, loaded, and ready. And then a few days later, help is on the way. Keep on protesting. He told them, keep on protesting. He literally said, keep on protesting. Well, what the fuck happened when they kept protesting? They were getting slaughtered. And then, if I find out that they executed anybody, they're gonna pay. It's gonna be very, very bad for them. Well, we know that they've been executing, but I stopped 836. Are you sure? Because they're fucking executing people left and right. Really? Who? I'm like, where is he getting his information from? Who is telling him these facts or so-called facts? Who's telling him? And that makes me worried about the people around him. Who's advising him? I mean, is he watching a specific news channel to get his information? The president of the United States? Is that what he's feeding on? Is he listening to his intelligence people? I mean, what the hell is going on? It makes me bug out. Like, now you realize thousands of people? Oh, I had to, you know, I could just see it. Well, we had to make sure it was confirmed. How much confirmation do you fucking need? Whether it's 5,000 that the regime, what did the regime admit to? Like over 3,000? And that's the regime. There's thousands right there. The regime even said it. There's thousands of rioters. How many? What's the number? Do we have a special number that we have to reach before we do anything to rescue them? Like you said, do we have a special number? Is it 5,000? Is it 10,000? Is it 20,000? What the fuck is the number? Oh, well, you said if they started executing people. Oh, but they stopped the executions. Well, contrary to that, you might have been told that line. I don't know who you're believing. That's also a thing with him. Who does he believe when they tell him stuff? Like, you believe that? Really? Are you that naive that you bought that? You really believe that? Because you got to remember, in the administration, there are people that are trying to figure out a way if there's a diplomatic solution to this. Oh, I hope she doesn't start with me right now when I just went live. What? What is what?
This.
Oh, that's the gift that this guy got me next door, the owner. Matter of fact, give me that. He dropped me off a Christmas gift that he had the time.
I can't stand this stool.
You gotta go over there live. Thanks.
Vengo ya, virgen.
But I mean, enough is enough. You can love Trump, you could hate Trump. That's not the point. The politics is not the point here. We're not talking about the politics involved. It's what you say and people react to what he said. He is indirectly responsible for what's going on in Iran because of the words he used. You may not hold him accountable to it because anything he does is forgivable. But this is unforgivable if he takes no action. I don't care if you're for Trump or against Trump. That has nothing to do with it. His words cost people lives potentially. That's the bottom line. And anybody can try to sugarcoat it or make excuses. There are no excuses here. None. Help is on the way. Keep on protesting. I will come to rescue the Iranian people. We're locked, loaded, and ready. If we find out they start killing protesters, well, they've been killing them in the thousands. I stopped the 800 and something executions. Yeah. And they said it's been canceled, not postponed. Wrong. They're actually executing people in hospitals right now, wounded, and killing them in hospitals. That's execution style. Ma, stop.
I can't find my phone.
You just had it. So this is not politics. This is reality on the ground, what's going on in Iran. Now, at the same time I say all that, I truly believe the president is going to take action. I do. I honestly think he will. Because he doesn't want to be in the same breath of Obama and Biden. Because people are going to say, you're just as bad, if not worse, than Biden or Obama. Because you drew red lines. You did it again. You did the same thing they did, but even worse, because now this is the most horrific mass slaughter of people in Iran since this regime has taken power. And you know he doesn't want to be in the same breath as Obama and Biden. So I do think he's going to take action. I do. You know, I'm just being realistic here. This is not about pro, anti, politics, this, ICE, that, this, you know, the typical talking points, you know, everything that goes on, the politics around everything. We know that. We're talking about what is actually going on in real time, what was said, what was the response, what is the actions, what is the lack of action, what are the consequences. That's what we're talking about here. The reality of the situation.
Hey, sir.
Not making excuses, not saying, oh, he's waiting for the right opportunity. Yes, all that is on the table. The word is objective. The word is being objective. Ma, please stop. I'm live right now. What is it?
I want that thing, you know.
What? What do you want?
You know, I really, please, you know.
She does this to me all the time. All the time.
Que tú no estás busy. Thank you.
I mean, we can go to his True Social and look exactly what he posted about this. Oh, I heard there are stampedes causing the deaths. I would like to know anybody here who's seen any video of people getting stampeded in the beginning that caused the deaths. I don't know where he came up with that. I don't know who told him that. I don't know what the hell is going on in some of the stuff that comes out. Because it's nonsensical. There could have been a few in the commotion when the people were getting shot up or tear gas or whatever it was. Maybe some people were trampled, but come on, or stampeded, whatever word he uses, stampeded. I was like, is he serious right now? And everybody and believe me, Goldie's pro-Trump, Tussie's pro-Trump, and they shook their heads like, why did he mention people getting stampeded? They were even puzzled. They were shook like the SMH moment. Where'd that come from? It didn't even make sense. But like I said, all of that being said, because I'm trying to be objective and look at all the different perspectives and opinions you could look at this, I still think he's going to act. I mean, you're putting all the pieces in place. You think he's putting all these pieces in place to do nothing? This is all part of a strategy to pressure the regime and make them buckle, and it's possible. I think we're going to do it. That's what I say. And see how people right away, yes. Look in Gaza. Anywhere in the world where people are getting slaughtered by an oppressive regime, it should be called upon. The United States has always represented democracy across the world. We are the voice of democracy. Now, again, the politics, no wars, not our problem. Taiwan won't be our problem. Ukraine's not our problem. It may be that Iran's not our problem. And I get that perspective. I do. Nobody, I don't want to see our boots on the ground and people risking, no way. I don't want that. Who does? And Gaza, that it's undeniable, the horrific, I mean, Gaza, and people who say, oh, if you're worried about the people in Gaza, you must be pro-Palestine Hamas. What the fuck is that? No, it means that the population of Gaza makes up of 40 to 50% children, and the children are suffering in Gaza. Innocent children. Alexa, how many children make up the population in Gaza?
Children make up about 40% of Gaza's population.
40% of Gaza are children, not adults. Children.
Adults make up about 57% of Gaza's population.
What about that? Who suffers?
What would you like to
Alexa,
know more
stop.
about?
You can say that in so many different areas. But see, because of the politicization of it, you know, that's the whole point of it. It's almost like a diversion. Like a purposely done to try to change the topic and put it to somewhere else. Focus it on this. We're not talking about Sudan. We're not talking about Gaza. We're talking about what's going on in Iran, because that's where the major focus is. And yeah, there's ICE going on. There's a lot of problems here going on domestically. Obviously. But we're talking about Iran. Let me see. If there are civilian planes in Iran airspace, does that mean no war? A lot of that air traffic that you're seeing are Iranian or UAE. I can't explain it, but every time something big is going down, I get a strange feeling. I tell my husband and warn him. Believe it or not, I've been 100% right. Something big is about to happen. Like I said, I talked to my military buddy who's a contractor. He thinks next week. That's what he told me about an hour ago. I'm just telling you what my buddy that's military told me. Question again. Why do you care about Iranian people? Seems like you care about your own mother. Well, that's so very respectful to bring my mother into this conversation. That's really nice. You don't care about the Iranian people? Who do you care for? You don't care about nobody? A lot of people just care about themselves. Alexa wants to be in the convo.
Was that for me?
Haha, that's funny, Roy's world. My gut feeling is very uneasy too. I don't know. Like I said, I think Sunday. You mean Sunday morning? Well, it's Sunday morning now in Iran. It's after midnight. And see, that's part of the problem. We were talking about this yesterday. Things are so divisive and it's so difficult to have communication. Because remember yesterday we had people that were supportive of the regime in here, but we tried to keep it respectful. It's good to have a dialogue and communication, but it seems like over here it's so divisive that right away they go to attack you. They make it personal. And also reaching a conclusion, whether I'm a Democrat, Republican, which I am absolutely dead red middle independent, to be factual. So Sunday night, New York City time, that would be Monday morning. Actually, that would be even later than that. No, it would be Monday morning. Yeah, I think, and I don't mean to be upset and disrespectful, but please do not bring my mother into the equation. That's a mistake. That's Momzilla, and trust me, we have our way of. We're more friends. Mom, son is. Let's see. Another. We really have to monitor this air traffic. To be honest, got to monitor this. Because if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen if it's going to happen tonight, our time, my time, it's going to happen within the next few hours. Yeah, the regime bots last night was sick. It was crazy in here. But you guys really kept the cool, and you handled it very well. That's true too. You're right, fan. A majority of the independent, they do lean right. See, I used to be a liberal when I lived in New York City. Donald Trump was a Democrat. I've been living up here for 20 years. I started to move over to center because things here is different than in the city. So here, I do vote. I voted for local Republicans. I voted for the Democrat, like a lot of Republicans up here, for our House rep. It wasn't just me. So it's different here in upstate New York. You know. But that's, I don't want to get into my personal politics or what I do and decide. I go for the person I think best represents what my interests are. Because the big thing here, and I don't want to start this whole politic talk, because that's the last thing I want to do to bring this into a political thing. Lowering my taxes, because taxes here are just insane. Whether it's school, property, the homeowner's insurance is going crazy, and I don't know why, because we're not affected by storms like that, but all of a sudden our homeowner's insurance is skyrocketing, car insurance, everything's going up. Like, I voted for a Republican in the school district because he was all about, trying to fiscally be more control, less corruption, like that kind of deal. But I'm not going to get into the politics right now. Let's see. I'm a military wife, and my husband's over there to fight and keep people free and safe, and I'm very proud of him. And God bless you and him and all those over there. Exactly. They're doing a service for all of us. I guess that doesn't mean nothing, right? Dude, have you seen Khomeini marches in Pakistan? I have not. I don't know if anything's going to start tonight. We're just monitoring. Does anyone remember last attacks on Iran? Wasn't the entire airspace closed? Are you talking about the 12-day? Because last week there was almost something going to go down, but it didn't. And they did close the airspace. Funny thing is the airspace really needs to be cleared out. Yes, Fan is right. You would think they would clear out the airspace to protect civilian flights. You would think. There's still a lot of activity here. There's still a lot in between. I mean, Tel Aviv is busy. You can see there's a lot of flights going from Jordan into Iraq. There's still flights in western Iran, within Iran. So there's still a lot of activity out there. Civilian. Sepp is sending me. Exactly. Like Spider said, they're not going to do it with all those planes around. Well, this, again, we have to make sure this is accurate. Israeli intelligence reportedly provided the U.S. with what it calls smoking gun evidence that Iran has been secretly executing protesters. Oh, well, again, but like anything else, we have to take that with a grain of salt, because is that actually confirmation with that? I know there's a video. I'm not going to show that video. The United States is not seeking war with Iran. Its strategy focuses on pressure and warnings, not direct military action, with the aim of influencing Iran's leadership. Ongoing back-channel diplomacy. Well, that's been the talk. That has been the discussion behind the scenes, yes. Witkoff has been involved. There's been others. But when do you say enough is enough on that? And remember, the president did say certain things, and they're going to hold him to that. Literally, the people of Iran are holding on hope to what he said to them. Oh, he really didn't mean that. He was just saying that. Well, to the people of Iran, you tell them that. If that's part of the strategy, and you're telling people help is on the way, keep on protesting, and people are getting massacred, I don't know. I mean, you see videos, people writing on the wall, please, President Trump, help us. Like, they're trying to send signals to him directly. People holding up pictures. Please, President Trump, help us. I don't know what you would say to those people. I've said from the beginning, and I even read articles about us not being prepared without a carrier group or even two, that we weren't ready. That's one thing, not to be strategically ready. That's one thing. But, I mean, at this point, I think these people are going to feel abandoned and betrayed by our president if he does not take action. It doesn't matter what we all think. Oh, why should we? It's what the people of Iran are thinking right now. And how this leads to future relations, and they are going to they're going to say the United States betrayed us. And we're not talking about the regime or the political aspect, the people, the actual people of Iran. Not all of them, but a majority of them. United States betrayed us. They told us they were going to help, and they didn't. That's what it's going to come down to. It's as simple as that. There's no gray area here when it comes to that. Look at all the Iranians in chat. You ask them what they think and what people are saying within the country. Ask them. Don't ask me. I'm not there. I'm not Iranian. I'm an American who supports them. Just like, why do you support Iran? Why would I support anything? If that's the question. Then what the fuck do I support? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why do you support Iran? You're not Iranian. Why does anybody support any cause? Because they're not of that nationality, of that ethnicity, or of that religion, or anything else? Is that how narrow and ignorant people can be? I mean, really? I mean, my God. I thought things were bad where people were so selfish and only cared about themselves, but that's like the worst. I'd rather be a hopeful and optimistic than a pessimist. United States, okay, I read that. It was like 2:15 in Iran when Trump attacked their nuclear. Exactly. Midnight Hammer. No, airspace closures. It's not looking good for tonight. I agree. It's not looking good for tonight. My friend, like I said, I don't want to call him because I don't want to bother him. And he's been involved for decades in the military. He said it's not happening till next week. If it happens. He told me that about an hour ago on a phone call. He said, not likely. If anything, if at all, it would be next weekend. That's what he said. I'm just telling you what he told me. That's just his opinion. He's not involved directly with it. I will tell you, without saying too much, that he has worked with Middle East nations, training them. That's as far as I can go. And believe me, you think all that equipment we sell to them, they got to be trained to use it, right? Who do you think they send in to train them? He's one of them. So who knows? Who knows? Exactly. You can only be hopeful and optimistic. There are people in this chat that have lost family members in Iran already. Think about that. There are people that come to this chat that are Iranian that have lost people already in Iran. Or are not able to communicate with their loved ones in Iran. And to take out just why do you care about the Iranian people? Well, what would be the self-interest, if we're going to look at self-interest part, to the United States strategically in the region? How does this change so much in the region? If it's sustained and peace is made and it holds democracy, relations reestablishing their ancient relationship with Israel, Persians, you cut the funding of the proxies. Who's going to fund them now? Where are they going to get all the funding from? Strategically, the influence of China and Russia. Do we see future bases in Iran? Less dependency of the Arab countries that tell us we can't fly in their airspace when they say we can't? Do you realize how this affects the whole region, the whole world? So, and of course, the economic aspect, the United States is going to send our companies investment, oil, tourism, you name it. Of course, there's that side. So, there's a lot at stake here. If you want to look at from what's in it for me or for us. From a national security point of view for the United States. There's a lot on the table here. It's not as simple as supporting the Iranian people. That's the main priority, is to help these people right now. But who do you think is going to be given like open preferential treatment if we were to aid and help them? Because they're going to have to do this on their own. They're going to be the ones that have to actually take over and overthrow the regime. It's going to be the Iranian people. But who do you think, if it happens, God willing, who do you think is going to be the ones they're going to look as the ones that came to help? The U.S., possibly even Israel. And moving forward, I mean, there's a lot at stake here. It's not just that simple. It's just one thing. What do you care about the Iranian people? Are you kidding? I mean, that's just like, what? Shit, I shouldn't care for nothing, right? If I told my mother the comment that was said, she said she will flip out. Because, we have our way of dealing with each other. She'll flip out if I told her that. Like, what did that person say? So, But anyway, Sep, are you around? You want to come out with me on Teams and speak from an Iranian perspective? If you want. And you can explain from not this American who's not Iranian point of view, and from a person like you talking about what's going on. You want to come on? I wonder how much Iran is paying these Indian and Pakistani cyber bots to spread all these stuff. Clearly not much. And Yes, definitely Pakistan. India too. You're right. You're right. You're right about that possibility. All right, I'm going to get on Teams. I'm going to set this up. So we're going to bring Sep in. Give me a second to set it up. Is it me or is the air traffic? Oh no, it's still coming in. I got to watch those planes on the top that they keep coming down. But this is usually the air traffic at this time of night. This is not unusual. We got to keep an eye on that. Okay, you're there. All right, let's do this. And then you can speak to the people. And I'll shut up. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus. I was cleaning. What happened with Peak Hegseth? Did he say something? Let me get this audio up because this is how he's going to come. So yes, this is our friend Sep. I'm going to call him right now. Okay, I'm not using a camera. The audio's got to be this. Allow. I'm calling you. Are you there? Uh-oh. How come I don't hear you? Let me check my settings. I see we're connected, but I don't hear you. Let me just check my settings. Because it could be my end. Audio settings. The speaker. It's got to be the sound blaster. And
No, I shouldn't have audio.
No, you got it. I got it.
There
I got to set up my stuff on my end. Now can you hear me?
All right. I can hear you now. Perfectly.
Perfect. What's happening? It's a pleasure to speak with you finally.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm glad they have me here as an Iranian to be able to like give more insight on what Iranians think, especially like Iranians who've moved out of Iran due to political problems.
All right. Let me stop you there.
With
Let me
everything.
stop you there.
Go ahead.
How old were you when you left Iran?
I left Iran when I was 9, so around the Green Revolution. It was one of those uprisings that started, and it was just me and my mom. We left Iran around 2009, 2008.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you went to your current location? You don't have to say where. Don't say where.
Well, no, the road was long, man. It was wrong. I happen to be one of those illegal immigrants. Sadly, most Iranians who happen to be political refugees are kind of forced to be illegal immigrants because there's no other way. You can't use your passport to just like get a visa easily because there's a lot of problems with that, or used to be. I don't know how it is now. And yeah, I'm at my current location.
Did you go? You were very young, but I'm sure there are a lot of, and I'm just speculating that if you're Iranian, people right away think you're a terrorist. They think that you're not a person of, I would say, this dog is scratching in the background. It's like they stereotype people. Oh, he's Iranian. He must be a terrorist. That kind of thing.
That is definitely one of the struggles that most Iranians deal with. That's why it's a funny thing. We say Persian instead of Iranian because there's a lot of like negative consensus attached to the word Iran. Either from people being ignorant, they assume it's, oh, you're from Iraq. And it's just an uncomfortable position that puts you in. So there's definitely, amongst Iranian, there's definitely like a identity crisis, I would say.
Yes.
Because we're trying to dissociate ourselves with the current regime because they control the media, everything that you see about Iran, they control it to some extent. And people who were outside of Iran for many years, they would be quiet. Our celebrities that left Iran, or we have people that were big in sports that left Iran. That all changed though, uh, around the Zanzandagi Azadi revolution, which not the uprising, I would say, not revolution, which was because of Masa Amini's death. That changed. People definitely became more vocal. There was definitely people that were vocal, but that really sparked something to Iranians, sorry, outside and inside.
But is it also a generational thing that's going on? Because it seems like a lot of the youth and students, university, they're the ones that are really coming forward to speak about the change.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I could speak from a point of being somebody who's in the Gen Z. I was born in 2000. So I have a lot of friends who are gamers, and you meet them online. They're in Iran, and you could just hear it in their voice when they like introduce themselves to people. They also have that same identity crisis that I was talking about. They're afraid of saying they're from Iran because of the negative connotation that follows with that. And that has caused them to compare their lives. With the introduction of internet and all these like communities where you could just go in and talk to people, the good part of internet, there's definitely bad sides of it. It has allowed people to compare their lives. Oh, why do I get to live like this when this and this person get to live like this in an Arab country? They're Muslim like me. Why do they get to have all these Western values in a country and I don't?
Right.
And that really sparked something in this new generation. And this is the reason we're seeing a lot of younger people basically throwing their life away and fighting for something big.
Do you still have personal connections in Iran? Family, friends, etc.?
I have family in Iran. Not in Tehran, and not a lot. Not a lot of people. Most of my family is outside of Iran. But yeah, I still have connections to Iran, people that live there, and even some family members who are sheep, who've been manipulated by this propaganda. Now, I don't blame them, because education has a lot to do with that.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt about that. There's
a lot of uneducated and ignorant people living in that country that have been completely manipulated by the state.
I definitely can see that. It happens all over the place. You've done, and I'm not going to I'm going to say this in general. You and your family has done a lot for the people of Iran. And you should be commended on your efforts in trying to help those without getting into details. We spoke about this privately. It's amazing. Another thing that we came up with and we were discussing in private is hopefully at some point when people want to donate, and we'll find out when that time comes, how we can set up a way to help the people on the ground, because they're going to need a lot of help. They need help now. And I'm not just talking about what's going on politically, but also the economy, with the water, the crises that are going on throughout the country. And I know we've discussed that at some point in the future, if everything ends up being the way most of us hope that it will, maybe when you're there, if that time comes, when that time comes, I don't want to say if, when that time comes, maybe you can be part of that to set up a way to organize, to help the people that are directly affected on the ground, the Iranian people.
Definitely. I mean, I don't feel like I'm alone in this. I don't feel like I'm only one of the Iranians who feels like this or tries to do this. I feel like a lot of Iranians outside of Iran feel like they have this obligation to do something, to roll up our sleeve and rebuild our countries. After World War II in Austria, people worked for free for 2 years to rebuild the economy, to rebuild the country, and look where it's at right now. And I definitely see this in the future of Iran. I definitely see that, and there's going to be great things. And if the Iran Prosperity Program, we talk about it almost every night, goes the way that it goes, there's definitely, there's a bright future ahead, but we just got to get out of this darkness. And how we get out of this darkness, or let me say this, when we get out of this darkness, that's going to be the day where we can really sit down and calculate how we're going to how we're going to face these challenges. But till that day comes, we can only be hopeful, optimistic. And I've been thinking about this. A lot of Iranians outside of Iran have been dealing with survivor's guilt, even people in Iran. This feeling of thinking that your hands are tied and you can't do much and that you can't fight back. I just want to say to those Iranians, that day will go away. And we will definitely do major things for Iran, especially a lot of people who've lived in other countries, know different languages, and have connections to businesses and all of that. And once these sanctions go away, the amount of businesses that are going to come into Iran and rebuilding the economy and all that, we're definitely going to.
The tourism alone is going to be a boom.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that alone.
Tourism is going to be huge.
Oh, it's going to be huge. And again, there's the other economic areas, energy, oil. And there's also going to be investment to, like I would think, like I'm just going to use this as an example. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but we're going to send the Army Corps engineers to help figure out maybe how to get the water supply working again and underground, try to get underground wells and to try to help the people. So there's going to be a lot of investment. There's going to be a lot of investment in Iran. And Iran does have the resources. It's not like Iran is a poor country. They have the economic, they have the money's underground. It's right there, obviously. So, and a lot of people are going to look to, monopolize on that as well. And that's why I think Reza said it right. It's going to be managed fiscally with sovereignty, with respect, and he's willing to work with all nations. He's not saying, oh, it's going to be exclusive. Because he was asked in an interview, what about your relationships with China and Russia? Well, we're going to have equal fair trade with them too, with everyone. He said that. So let me ask you this question. And I don't know about your family. Was your family, and I like without getting too personal, do they remember the time of the Shah before the Islamic Revolution?
Of course.
And what would you say to people about that? And because everybody says, oh, he was a dictator, blah, blah, autocrat. What would you say about life in Iran prior to 1979?
I mean, I think we need to zoom out a little bit and just not look at Iran in those times. We need to look at leaders all over the world, even today. Look, every politician, every leader is subjugated to some sort of criticism, and not all people are going to agree with you. Looking at Trump, he might have had the popular vote and he might have became the president, but there's a lot of people who disagree with him, right? But one thing that you need to keep in mind is that after the Shah was removed, a lot of these, media that we see today, BBC, CNN, back then, they genuinely went on a campaign to tarnish his name and his legacy. Now, that doesn't mean that the criticism that he did face around those times are completely negligible and, they don't matter and all of that. No, we can definitely look at them, but you really need to be educated on the matter, which I wouldn't say I'm a historian, none of that, but I have enough knowledge to be able to say that if we were to if there is someone out there, and I know there is people out there that think, oh, Shah was a dictator and this and that, then I would just like to ask you that why is it that in the decades that the Pahlavis, ran around, why is it that the death numbers are only, I think there are 1/4 of the deaths that we've seen in only 48 hours, and these numbers are only coming out of Tehran, right? That's what we know right now. Most of these numbers that we're seeing, these 20,000, 30,000 injured, and I think 5,000 people in prisons, these are only coming out of Tehran, right? We don't know the exact numbers for the other provinces, for other cities, and all of that. And I'd just like to ask them that, to me, it feels weird to use that as an argument when we're facing such a tyrannical regime right now. Because it almost reminds me of to the Black Lives Matter movement. People would be saying Black Lives Matter, and people would come in and say White Lives Matter. Screaming White Lives Matter to somebody's Black Lives Matters, it just feels weird. It just feels odd. It doesn't make sense to me. It has never made sense to me. It almost feels like it's trying to take the spotlight away. And I feel really passionate about that. Sometimes I get a little angry when people come in and try to go back in history and, rewind back and be like, oh, he wasn't all that great. Okay, I get it now. Okay, but that was 47 years ago, and for 47 years the country has only gone to shit. Sorry if I'm being vulgar, but and another funny thing is that a lot of people don't notice, but Iran state like media and news for the past few years, there was a lot of people speaking up against the regime. People on Iranian um, news networks will go and be like, "Oh, I was around when Shah was around, and this and this was my salary, and I was able to have this life." And this was something that the state allowed, you know, uh, even a couple months ago, 8 to 7 months ago, and a lot of clerics uh, put down their outfit and all of that, and they just reduced themselves to being part of people because they realized how corrupt the system is. And what people don't realize is that this hasn't been brewing as something that is like coming from the outside. Reza Pahlavi didn't necessarily give a call for people to start chanting his name. It just happened because it's logic. Because we look at our history and we go like, oh, now our leader is some guy who we don't even know if he's Iranian. We don't even know his origin. He just came and claimed power and all of this. And if we look at Khomeini, he said that clerics would have no part in the politics, and then he went back on that and he put cleric individuals completely in power. And now Iran is one with the religion. The state rules and the religion, they're one thing. They follow Sharia to the teeth, I would say. Not as much in the past few months because of the backlash of the woman freedom and life movement. But that contributes to what has caused all of this. And a lot of people don't notice. Because sadly, we Iranians haven't really taken the time to show the people that what are the voices from the inside. And honestly, we can't, because it puts those people at danger. The second they get any sort of spotlight, those people are either removed, disappeared, or they go back on their word for some weird, odd reason, and you can just see they're scared.
And Iran is diverse. I mean, it's not like I think a lot of people, again, that just don't know, and I'm included in this, they think it's just one Islamic country, it's one Muslim country, but it's actually very diverse.
Very diverse. Very diverse. You have Afro-Persians, you have Baluchis, you have the Turks, you have the Azeris, you have so many different groups in Iran. They have their own, goals that they want their people to prosper. And this is definitely going to be a huge convo. Saying it in the chat a couple nights ago, that's definitely going to be a topic if this regime goes away, that we put a little bit more focus to those groups as
okay,
well.
But now when you bring that up, how difficult is it going to bring all these diverse factions to create some type of a parliament, a democratic system? Because you're going to have all these different aspects being part of it. You know what I mean? So what's to prevent this? Let me preface by saying this. Why is now different from the past? What makes this different now about regime change, that the people are revolting? Why now? Why is now different than in the past?
Because I feel like the people have had enough. I mean, it's like kicking a dead horse for so many years. It has broken the back of so many families. It's tragic. It's really tragic. And education is another part of it. Internet and people becoming, social media has a huge part in this. There's a lot of light being shed on all of these bad situations that Iran has gotten themselves in because of this like weird warmongering, almost I would say primal mindset of this person is my enemy and that person is my enemy, and we will not rest until they're reduced to zero. Yep. And you don't see this in any other country, I would say. You only see it in terrorist organizations, and that's about it. That's
well, I gotta tell you, I gotta stop you there. In this country, it's so divided. It's almost like other people, it's us against them, and there's so much anger and actually hatred that they consider the other side the enemy. I mean, we're driving to that position ourselves here in this country too. The rhetoric is that bad. I'm just saying, we're not perfect.
And I don't want to put a tinfoil hat on, but I think Iran has a huge part in that, funding those groups. And I was seeing tweets that there were people in Kamala Harris's circle that were directly tied to people high up in the Iranian government.
Mm.
You know, go into
Mm-hmm.
marches with them and all of that. And I don't want to necessarily, say that the left is evil and this and that, but these past few weeks, as someone who
The
was,
money.
I would say I was pretty much in the center. Um, I'm starting to rethink a lot of things because for years I was saying free Palestine. For years I was going out and doing all these, um, act, uh, raising my voice and trying to make things heard. But now I'm looking at it and I'm like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should just focus on my people. Maybe we should just focus on getting rid of Iran because they're funding almost all of these evil stuff in the world that we see.
Yep.
They're giving Russia drones to kill the
Yep.
Ukrainians.
No, it's true.
And there's a lot of hypocrisy with that. The country goes, oh, yeah, we want to free the people of Gaza, this and that. But then at the same time, they're giving millions and millions of dollars to China, and they have the Uyghurs in concentration camps.
Yep.
So what is that about?
Yep.
Or they're giving drones to Russians to kill Ukrainians. What is that about?
Like you said, it's all
There's
about the
a holy war
hypocrisy.
there.
It's hypocrisy. It really is across the board. And that is a major problem in this country too, because a lot of it is funded. It is they get and like I said, I don't want to jump into that conspiracy thing, but I do believe a lot of it is funded from outside sources. And even I was a little taken aback because there was talk about it when there was the attempt on the president's life, and when they put that on state media, the image from Pennsylvania, and they said in the caption on state TV, next time it won't miss its target. I was almost taking that. Are they implying that they were part of the first attempt? Do you know what I mean?
Are ballsy, man.
Do you know what I mean?
They're ballsy and very low IQ, and I doubt that they have the power to do anything directly. That's why they always need to hire some kind of, it almost feels like mobs or like gangs or like, they're not really organized. The most people that they're hiring to do these stuff are like cause commotions. They're just goons and hooligans, They don't have power to do anything, major or substantial.
But look how ISIS did a lot of recruitment internationally.
Yeah.
I mean, you're telling me that you can't influence someone anywhere to do something. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to get into too much detail, but you know where I'm going. I mean, how do we know the person wasn't influenced and, kind of given some type of an order to carry out something? That's all I'm saying.
They definitely have sleeper agents, but and it's crazy, a lot of these people that are closely tied to the Ayatollah, their kids and their families live in the States.
Yeah.
They have jobs in universities and all of that.
Yep. And I think tomorrow's like a deadline. I think we talked about this in chat, that they got to get out of the United States.
Yeah.
So would they do that
they're
prior?
being deported.
Yeah, they're being deported. Get out. So would action occur before that happens or after that happens, or that doesn't even matter?
Well, to me, it just doesn't make sense for any action to happen right now.
I
as
agree.
much as I would love it to, I'm just looking at things mathematically. I'm just looking at things like logically.
Yes, me too.
You have Witkoff and Kushner in Israel right now. These people are being deported. We're talking to some people and they're like, yeah, they could just send them to Turkey and then to Iran. But to me, it doesn't make sense. If they're trying to really get rid of these people, they're probably going to send them back to whatever the hole they're hiding in and just get rid of them with them, all at once. Or maybe sending these people kids back to the country is going to have like some sort of an effect on these people that they'll just run away with them. Yeah. Because it's human nature to care for your kids and all of that. At the end of it, it was as evil as they are. I'm sure they care for their family. That's why they send them to America and all these good Western countries. But so I feel like it's a mental game.
But you're talking about two different entities now. You're talking about the political aspect with the regime, but then you always have to deal with the IRGC. You know that. They're their own separate entity.
They are their own yeah.
And that is where the real problem comes in. Because even say the regime falls and there's disarray, you don't think that Iran could become a militarized state controlled by the IRGC?
I mean, there's already martial law in place. Well, the thing about this martial law is, before I fully say that there's martial law in place, it feels like a half-assed martial law, and that might be because of a lot of their forces are just either backing out. We've been getting reports on a lot of people, backing out before this whole thing started. Actually, Reza Pahlavi went, on record saying that he got 50,000 people, members of IRGC, and other groups
He
that
just
are closely
recently said
tied
it's over
to.
100,000. By the way,
What'd you say?
he just recently, I saw in an interview, he said it's over 100,000. He was actually in.
100,000, yeah.
I saw a clip yesterday on X. He was on with Jake Tapper, a show yesterday. He said, because Jake asked him that question, and he said, actually,
Yeah.
it's over 100,000 now, and we're still getting applications in. That's what he said.
Yeah, and that might be a factor that plays into preventing something like that from happening. But if that does happen, I don't know how it's going to be fought against. I don't know if the state is going to send boots on the ground, and we're going to have a similar situation to Afghanistan or the Balkanization of Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
Maybe NATO will get involved. Who knows? We need to look back at history and compare. That's the best thing we could do. We can compare the stuff that have already happened in other places, but we need to also keep in mind that Iran is not these countries, and it's very different.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think that
go ahead.
literally the people of Iran were pretty much every word, every statement that was said, whether it was by the Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi or the president, and that's who they're listening to, and that's how they went out there and they were motivated to revolt? Do you think that maybe necessarily it was a mistake on either one of their parts to make promises that eventually, potentially, they won't keep?
Well, for Reza Pahlavi, I can say no. For Trump, that's a different thing, because the people didn't go into the streets and call out Trump's name because they wanted to, but they did do that for Reza.
Yep.
And he stepped up. We got to keep in mind that he stepped up and said, "Oh, I hear you. You're chanting my name. That's why I will step up." But there's a lot of criticism saying that Trump is almost trying to take the spotlight away from Reza Pahlavi and trying to put it on himself to make himself seem like a savior and all of this and that he has more control. He loves to be a liberator, and maybe he will be, but that's definitely something that we need to keep in mind, that for Trump, I could definitely see some criticism coming if nothing happens. And that it's going to be brutal, man. People are going to change their entire political stance towards him. And I don't think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's my concern. But I still think that he's going to act. I'm just saying my own personal opinion. I think he's still going to act.
I mean,
I'm not saying tonight. I'm saying in the next upcoming weeks, days, I think he's going to act. Because like I mentioned earlier, he does not want to be in the same sentence with Obama and Biden. No way. So that alone, and especially with the rhetoric, he's now starting to pay more attention to the rhetoric that's coming out of Iran. It looks like they're making him aware of some of the things that are being said. Not that that means much, because rhetoric is rhetoric. It goes from all sides. But I honestly think he is going to act, and it's going to be in coordination. You can see the UK is getting involved now with support logistically. You're seeing Jordan is playing a major role in this. I'm sure Israel is kept in the loop, and Israel's being really quiet right now. You're not hearing much coming from the Israeli government, because they're all waiting to see what Trump will do. That's what I think. They're waiting to see what the president decides here. And I honestly think that, and I'm not sure, I cannot confirm this, but I think there may be another carrier group in the Mediterranean. That's the rumor. There's another one there. So I think...
we saw it yesterday, right? With the NATO plane and everything circling around it. And the same area. Yeah, definitely. I'm not really well educated on like military warfare and all of that. And like
neither am I. I'm just an observer. That's all I am.
Yeah, but if we just do 1+1, they're definitely moving stuff. And like you said, a president is not going to spend all this money moving people, moving chess pieces just to do nothing. It might be a scare tactic. There might be things in the background that we absolutely have no, there is stuff in the background that we have absolutely no idea.
Exactly.
And we just have to wait and see how this plays out. But, You know, until that day, the best thing we could do is be hopeful, optimistic, and try to, you know, make sure that these people are heard. And that's the most important thing, you know, that thankfully, the, you know, media is reporting on Iran almost daily. Not as much as I would like for them to do. I would like them to do way more. And, but we're going towards a good direction. But right now, with everything that's going on in the world, you know, it still makes a lot of Iranian uneasy that all this stuff happening around the world is just going to take the spotlight away from what's happening in Iran. And
the
that's one
media,
thing that they're concerned.
the media, a lot of the mainstream media is a big. That's a big responsibility on their part. That's what they do. Because I like right now, I bet you everything is on TV is about Minnesota, ICE, all this anti-ICE. Depending on what platform you look at, you know, they're spinning it however they do it. A lot of and the storm that's going on, but that doesn't mean that the president, you know, I'm sure he's got his hands, you know, he's got his hand in a lot of cookie jars at the moment, but that doesn't mean he's not paying attention to what's going on in the Middle East. That's, you know what I mean? He knows.
Yeah, but it's not a one. We have to keep in mind it's not a one-man army. He definitely has a team. There's other
exactly,
people, I mean,
exactly.
you know, we just have to look at it realistically. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm hoping to see something in the next couple of hours. I saw on Twitter one of someone that has been reporting on stuff reliably said that a lot of Jordanian media is saying that stuff will happen within the next few hours.
Really?
I'm looking on your stream. Yeah, Shin, he is an Iranian. He's very well versed on, you know, military warfare and how that works. And, you know, he has a lot of knowledge on that. And he's been reporting on, yeah, a lot of people do doom posting on Twitter as of late. In 6 hours, in 4 hours, tomorrow we will see. Tonight is it? I hate that. Bill, that makes my blood boil because I know that they're engagement farming, and to engage,
yes,
engagement on something like this is disgusting.
Yes, there's rage baiting. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Oh, it is off the. You saw like a lot of people that are in this chat were here last night. The things that were going on. You could see what, and then I heard today somebody told me in the chat that same person went to another live podcast of somebody else and was doing it there. So they're purposely targeting certain platforms that are pro-Iranian people, not, and you know,
and
you see it.
Here's a tip to the viewers in the chat: when you see someone like that, just click on their profile and just go view channel, right? See the videos they've liked. Maybe the videos they posted in the past. A lot of these, you know, regime bots are really stupid. They're very, very low IQ. This is why I'm wondering, like, how much are they paying these people to put the? Are they even paying these people, or are these just low IQ people that just want to belong to something bigger than them? You know, or I don't know. They're just doing it for the sake of like getting a cheap laugh. I don't know, because I truly can't believe someone could be this stupid. People can have their opinions about, you know, the Iranian regime and whatever, but you know, when we're seeing so many deaths, kids being shot with pallets.
Dude, I've seen videos. I have seen the videos, and I won't show them. They had a young boy talking, and they showed his leg. It was all shot up, and his face, and he was speaking, and it's so graphic. I mean, it was so bad. I mean. The thing is, a lot of people might say, how do we know this is true? How do we know this is credible? How do we know when it's dated? How do we know this? We're not seeing something that happened years ago, or AI, and that's what, you know, that's what makes a lot of this. I have to be honest. I take a lot of it with a grain of salt because I'm not sure about the credibility of what we're looking at.
But that's what they want you to.
I know that. I know that.
They want you to ask.
I understand
they
that.
shut the internet down so that you can't prove anything. And if you try to prove something and say, oh, well, this person is from this province, this is his first and last name, here's his family pictures. Okay, tomorrow that guy is probably executed or in heaven prison. You know, they've set up the pieces and the chess pieces so perfectly. I mean, it's such a well thought out plot. Plan to turn an entire country into a prison. That's what they've done. Yeah. They turned this entire country into a prison, you know. And this is not nothing new, right? Iran's mentality, or the regime's mentality has been, you either join us or you join us by force. You know, it's always been this. It's all for 47 years. It's been this, and it hasn't changed. And you know, to anybody who wants to counter argument and say, "Oh no, these are AI," just look at their past behaviors, man. Just look at their track record.
Right,
That's all
the
you
track
have to
record.
do.
Yep.
If you don't trust the current uprising, look at the past ones. Look at Nega Azadi. You know, not Neda Azadi. It was Neda. I forgot her last name, but that was what happened in 2008. They shot this woman, similar to Mahsa Amini, in an uprising, and that had a huge impact on people. You know.
Do you think diplomacy is possible right now?
Fuck no.
I say that too. No, I say I agree with you. No way.
I'm sorry. What the fuck kind of diplomacy can you have with somebody who's blood hungry and like? You think that you could have sat down with Genghis Khan and told him, "Hey, can you not rape and pillage our people? Thank you very much." No, that's his whole plan. He wants. That's their entire. Neda Agha Sultan. Thank you so much for whoever said that in the chat. That's their entire plan. That's what they want to silence people. They want to take their voice away.
Or stalling for time. Or they could be stalling for time, because I honestly think they would love to have a nuke right now.
They would love to. And they, funny thing is, they go on their own TVs and they say, "Oh, we can develop a nuclear weapon within 24 hours."
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there scratching my head like, okay, Trump, are you going to do something about this? Because they're just saying that they could just rebuild it in 24 hours. You know,
do you think
maybe Trump knows that it's just all bluffs? But if they're talking like that, you need to smack them. Like, if somebody's like saying all these dangerous stuff, all these crazy stuff, you need to smack them. I mean, I remember being in school and going to school, standing in the courtyard of our school, being forcefully told that we need to say "death to Israel" and "death to America," filling our heads with all this bullshit. But for what purpose?
Yep.
For what?
Yep. I agree. 100%.
Why does a little kid need to be taught hate and death? Why does the word death need to come up in school, where we're building future scientists and people that are going to contribute to society? That just shows that they're manipulating. This has been the most elaborate propaganda game that any country has ever done.
What about all this paranoia that it's existing right now? I think it was so irresponsible for the foreign minister of Turkey to make that statement yesterday about intelligence indicates that Israel is going to strike Iran. It's like Turkey's playing both sides. It just drives me nuts, bro. And
it has always played both sides.
Oh my God! It's like for real.
Western values.
For real. I'm like. And then Iran is like, oh shit, because they're paranoid. They got to be paranoid. He's in a bunker right now. He's in hiding. And it takes a simple miscalculation. I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to do a preemptive strike first, but you can't discount the possibility that they will. You can't take that out of the picture here. I know it's a very low likelihood, probability, but you cannot discount the possibility that they say, "Oh, screw this. We're going to launch a preemptive strike. It's use it or lose it mentality as an act of desperation. We're going to take out Israel. We're going to make sure we take them out. If we're going down, they're going down with us." That scares me, bro. That actually scares me that they would think about
it. Is scary. It is scary, but then you realize what they did to them in the 12-Day War. They absolutely demolished them.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
Absolutely ruined them.
They had no airspace.
They're on their last.
Yep. They were flying at will. The Israelis were flying at will all over the country.
Yeah.
Air superiority, completely.
And Israel is saying that they can take 700 up to 700 ballistic missiles from Iran. So they're saying, "Hey, man, come on, test us. Fuck around and find out. Let's see what happens." And I feel like this might be some kind of again, I'm not, I haven't studied this. I have a master's in audio engineering, and that's about it. But from what I can gather is this might be an elaborate plan to make Iran attack first, to maybe take some of the heat off
Blame
US
them.
and Israel.
Cast the blame on them for making the first move.
Exactly. And because there's a lot of ignorant people out there, and they know these people are bloodthirsty and whatever, they're like, oh, okay, just watch. They'll just attack us just for us speaking, or just for us readying ourselves against the country that has been saying death to my country and death to my people for so many years.
That's right.
Watch us just respond to that and they'll strike us.
I'm going to read to you. I don't know if you're reading chat, but there's a lot of comments coming in. Like Jim says it's over. It's now just a matter of when, not if. And also, way beyond diplomacy. This is the last fight. There will either be a free Iran or the last crackdown. And somebody says they second that. They made us saying that in school every day. Think back and ask yourself how many times you fell for that in the past. Too many to count. It's so true.
I mean, Bill, can you imagine waking up, going outside, and you just pass people, and there is a 80% chance that somebody in that person's family is like mourning someone that died in this revolution? Can you imagine the impact that would have? I don't think any country has experienced that from their own government, right? They might have experienced it from, we've had Hiroshima and all of that, and other countries that have gone through absolute travesties that have killed so many people. But this is the final straw, and this is the final battle.
Let me ask you this question. Because the regime may purposely try to antagonize or try to lure Israel to make a first strike. Forget about the United States. I'm just saying. Israel. Do you think that's a ploy that they think would work with the people of Iran currently to make them be distracted by the Zionist regime hitting the country and saying, look, we're getting attacked by the Zionist regime, or the people would actually say, screw that, we welcome Israel's help?
Oh, they're definitely hoping for a gather around the flag thing. I think that's what they call it. Something that would bring people back together. I mean, they've been trying it every day on their state TV. And matter of fact, I have the Iranian TV open, always in the background in case they get hacked or they spread some propaganda like they were using AI and all of that. I mean, they're trying their best. They're trying their best to somehow manipulate people, but I don't think, because of how disorganized these people are, and how stupid they are, I don't think they expected their own forces to do the damage and the disgusting stuff that they did. I mean, somewhere inside of me thinks that a lot of these people that we saw just doing all these horrific people to these younger people, it's just because of their own hatred and their mentality of, oh, I'm doing this in the name of this. I don't want to be xenophobic, but these people have been manipulated and, their head has been filled with so much bullshit that I can imagine that, this 47 years of propaganda has made them really think that they're doing something great and something, wonderful, and they're going to be martyrs and whatever. And this weird